The 8th all-electric Mercedes-Benz is here. This is a new Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV, redefining standards for luxury and usability in the large SUV space. With 650 kilometers of range, up to 7 seats, and what they promise to be is one of the best in-car entertainment systems out there, is this now the EV SUV to beat? My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH. This is Malaysian Motoring. This is a very quick look at the new Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. Now, I'm going to need my phone for this because the stats are very important. Now, the EQS SUV is powered by a 108.4 kilowatt-hour battery, which gives this car a range of up to 650 kilometers. But more importantly, performance on this is very impressive indeed. 544 horsepower, 858 newton meters of torque, which means this thing can go from 0 to 100 in just 5-ish seconds, under 6 for that matter. Now, charging is also quite critical, and Mercedes-Benz is very keen to point out that this is the first Mercedes-Benz EQ in Malaysia to offer 22 kilowatt AC charging, which halves charging time compared to the 11 kilowatt AC chargers that you get in other EQ models. As for DC charging, the EQS can extend up to 200 kilowatts, which means 10 to 80% can be completed in a little bit over 30 minutes, making this one of the best SUVs potentially to travel longer distances, especially with a full family in the back. Now, in terms of styling, the EQS SUV certainly looks very much like an EQ product. You have that almost single bow design from the front all the way to the rear, creating this very aerodynamically efficient design. Now, rolling stock is handled by a set of 22-inch alloy wheels, and they certainly look the business. As far as aerodynamically efficient wheel designs are concerned, these certainly rank, to me, as among the best. Now, as standard in Malaysia, the EQS SUV comes as an AMG line model, which is why you get a more aggressive front end with an AMG line bumper. Same thing goes for the rear, and you even get AMG alloy wheels, as I mentioned earlier, again to make this car look a little bit more visually arresting on the road. Now, as standard, you also get these running boards, which are fixed. They do not go in and out, which is a little bit disappointing at this price point, but that's that, I guess. At the rear, of course, you do get the typical Mercedes-Benz EQ light bar all the way across, repeat the little signature flourish on either end, again to make the car look a little bit more distinctive at night. Now, when talking about a large SUV, practicality becomes very important. And so on the EQS 580, sorry, misplaced the button there, you can see that even with all 3 seats or all 3 rows up, there is still a good amount of space back here. Repeat, with a little bit of underfloor storage for things like the first aid kit and so on. However, you can fold these rear seats down, which we're not going to demonstrate at the moment because there are other people within the cabin, and then you will find that there is an absolute expanse of space back here. What is worth noting is that all 3 rows of seats are electronically adjustable, which means this seat and the row in front of it and the 3rd row are all foldable electrically. Obviously not the driver's seat for obvious reasons, but with all the seats folded flat, you have an absolutely cavernous amount of space in here, and as you can see, because of the amount of space on offer, this should be very comfortable for passengers. Now, life in the EQS SUV certainly feels very upmarket. This is very similar to what we've seen before from the EQS Saloon. Things like this 51-inch end-to-end hyper-screen display, which not only looks fantastic, but also interacts very well as well. This is what MBUX refers to as the zero-layer system, which means that accessing various functionalities within the car should not be more than 1 or 2 touches away. Now, what I do appreciate about this is that the climate functions still have their own little dedicated dock at the bottom, which means you'll never be searching for the way to adjust your temperature, your climate, and so on and so forth. These seats also come with heated and ventilation functionality in order to ensure that the front passengers are always very comfortable indeed. Now, for the driver, you get yet another digital instrument cluster here, again as part of that hyper screen, which you can manipulate via the touch control buttons on the steering wheel. Unfortunately, we are seeing a return of these buttons, which are very fiddly to use. But after yesterday having been in a Tesla, I do appreciate the fact there is an indicator stalk and a gear selector. At least I don't have to faff about on the bloody screen. There is also a heads-up display up ahead of me, which should be very clear and provides various different functionalities displayed right in the line of sight of the driver, including things like directional displays, navigation, as well as ADAS systems and functions and so on, which means this should be very useful indeed. Now, what I appreciate about this particular digital display is that, like every other Mercedes-Benz running MBUX, this is very customizable indeed. You'll be able to find exactly how you want the information displayed to you with just a few button presses. Now, in terms of practicality, the EQS also serves up quite a bit of space. There are huge door bins, there is an enormous space down here, replete with a wireless charger, twin USB-C ports, an NFC card reader, as well as a couple of deployable cup holders. There is an absolutely enormous center console, about that deep, which means you can hide all sorts of flotsam in there, and there's even space underneath this floating center tunnel in order to fit even more things. There's even like this nice little strap down here, which I appreciate very, very much. Now, what I can't quite figure out is how to open the glove box. Never mind. And as you can see, even that is quite deep, which means this is very well suited for family life. Now, being an EQS, that means that there is as much emphasis on the second row as there is in the first, which is why as standard you get things like the rear seat entertainment package, replete with your own touchscreen where you can manipulate things like the media system, even the navigation, in order to send instruction from here straight to the front seats in order as not for you to have to speak to the driver. And of course, if this screen is a bit too far away from you, not to worry, because by pulling down this armrest you can access a second screen here, where if you have an imagination you will be able to see a screen. But it's not here because they think that members of the media will steal them. Now, up front here, if you don't have this screen to control it, you actually have a second set of climate controls here, as well as a set of vents over here, as well as some vents on the B pillar. You have electric adjustment for these seats should you want to sit a bit more upright or should you want to recline a little bit further. And more importantly, should there be passengers in the third row, you can actually move this entire row a little bit further forward. Now, with this seat set up in my position to sit as a passenger, as you can see, I have a good amount of knee room, a good amount of headroom, and of course, you have this expansive panoramic sunroof that allows more light to bathe this rather dark cabin, ensuring that everything in here feels light and airy. And of course, because these seats are mounted quite high, higher than the front seats for that matter, I get a very commanding view out, which means that passengers in the back should still feel very comfortable indeed. Now, what I would like to demonstrate now is space in the third row. Now, accessing the third row can be done via a button on the side of the seats, which then fold and tumble the second row away, allowing for easier access into the third row. Life back there is pretty good as far as three-row SUVs are concerned, because in terms of space, there is enough of it just about for an adult passenger to survive for maybe an hour, maybe two at most. You even have aircon vents and USB ports and cup holders, which means life is not too bad. However, in terms of visibility, not so great, because the rear three-quarter windows or the C-pillar windows are very small, and well, looking over the shoulder also isn't that great either. But can't have everything. Maybe this should be better used as a 5-seater or 5+2. Now, being positioned as something of a premium luxury family SUV of sorts, the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV is chock full of active safety features, some of which you can hear going off right now. This car comes with full level 2 semi-autonomy, which includes things like adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist, lane keep assist, lane tracing, driver attention, driver drowsiness alert, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a 360-degree camera, and so on and so forth, which makes this a very comprehensively equipped vehicle, indeed at least one that deserves to have your family put inside. Now, in terms of pricing, the Mercedes-Benz EQS 580 4Matic SUV will be available in Malaysia for 699,888 ringgit, which is certainly a lot of money, but don't forget that this is one of very few 7-seater EVs on the market, and it's certainly much larger than the other one, which is the EQB. Now, let us know what you think about the new EQS SUV in the comment section below. Do you think that this is fairly priced? Do you think that this looks good? And do you think that Mercedes-Benz is offering this in a competitive enough package? Let us know in the comment section below. In any case, it's been a very quick walk around and tour of the new Mercedes-Benz EQS 580 4Matic SUV. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you're notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and join our WhatsApp channel. All the links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.